What's up, everyone? Preston with M3 Boatworks here. Today I have a 2012 Super Air Nautique 230 Team Edition. This is technically a coastal edition, actually, but it has not been in saltwater. Long story short, it was listed new at a dealer in Florida and ended up selling to a customer of ours that was here in Indiana. So it never actually saw the water in Florida, but that was maybe its initial intended purpose, was to go on salt. But this is a full-on freshwater boat. It's a boat we've serviced since it was new. A beautiful 230, I might add, sitting in Masters Blue hull in deck stripe, with an Onyx black main stripe, and a silver cloud top deck / interior deck. Just a classic color scheme. This thing's always going to look good. It's sitting on a tandem axle Ramlin trailer. Has a black flight control tower. Also includes a Z5 bimini, which is not currently installed on the boat, but it does come with a Z5. Excellent condition on the outside and the inside. I mean, it's been used. Sits with 559 hours on the clock. Nothing crazy, but very well maintained and shows when you see it in person. Does have the Griffin graphic on the side, which is in really good condition. Always a dead giveaway if someone takes good care of their boat or not, is how these graphics on these 2009 through like 2013, 14 graphics look. And this starboard side, really the only thing I could find was a couple tiny little marks here, and then another one a little further forward, which isn't even all the way through the vinyl, but this one actually started to peel off a little bit, but I think that's more of just an age thing more than a look. But on the plus side, it's kind of a busy graphic, so those little nuanced little nicks here and there kind of disappear. So there's a lot going on. It has Chromax Super Air Nautique logos down the side, that Coastal Edition badge there, as well as Chrome Team 230 on the back corners. Side vents looking really good. A lot of times these take the brunt of the beating if you tie a boat up and it's just smacking against the dock. So those look really nice. There is a small crack in the gel right here. Super minor, but obviously I'm going to go around and point out all the imperfections. Older Nautiques of this era, I guess older, gosh, it's 10 plus years old at this point. It's not that, it doesn't seem that old, but you can see a metal clip right up there on the board rack. If you don't have those secured while you tow the boat, those are been known to fly around and smack the tower base. You'll see that on a lot of these era Nautiques, and that unfortunately happened to this one as well. So you see some nicks on the tower base, but not too unsightly as you look at the boat. Let's walk around the bow. 230 comes in right at 23 feet, traditional bow. So you get a long bow, a lot of room up here for people to stretch out if you're taller. Has docking lights on either side on the bow as well. Graphic on this side is in equally as good a condition. There's a scuff here, and then another one right here. But beyond that, the graphic looks really good. Gel coat looks really, really good. Our detail team always does a good job, but frankly, they didn't really need to do a ton on this. I know they polished it, so the black looks really nice and glossy, but it turned out really nice. Side vent looks great on this side as well. Cool part about 2012 Nautiques is they came with Nautique Surf System, or you could get the Nautique Surf System installed on a 2012. So this has NSS. It's kind of the earliest iteration of the surf system, so you see the plate, but really, really nice to have on a boat you want to surf on. It just makes it feel much more modern. Has a pair of underwater lights and then the manual hydro gate on the bottom as well. As we hop up into the interior, got our Nautique logo across the back. There's a little nick, like a scrape right there in the queue. I'm gonna get nitpicky with it. Our SeaDeck is also starting to show a little bit of wear on the back. Still looks good, but oftentimes on these boats, some of the first few years they have SeaDeck on them. This is where it always gets kind of weathered and kind of worn down a little bit, and that's definitely the case on this 230. That platform SeaDeck does not have this kind of grainy texture to it that you see through the rest of the interior. That's mainly because it's just always exposed to the elements. Hopping up into the interior, it is brown SeaDeck, obviously, all the way through. Silver Cloud main has titanium seat boxing with black Carbona accent panels, like on the seat back there and back here on the sun pad. And then Masters Blue as a secondary accent, as you can see here as well. There's also a little bit of Silver Cloud Carbona next to the black, so you can see the kind of texture to that on the sun pad. Looks really nice. But overall, the interior's in pretty darn good shape. Shows really nicely. There's a couple little things here and there. Definitely the worst cosmetic blemish I could find was this split back here on the sun pad. So people step on this and it kind of pushes that corner out. You can see some cracking right along the lower edge of that, but not super noticeable. As we step down into the interior, there is a removable center piece right here that you can flip over and turn that into a step if you'd like. It does not come with the flip around rear seat, so you have two pads here that are kind of blanks, where that option you'd be able to clip the seat in across the middle of the boat. This boat does not have that, but it does have the port side and starboard side lean backs. Up top on the tower, before I jump inside, it has chrome rotating board racks on either side, and then 6x9 horn driver speakers up top by Roswell, and then the rotating Polk speakers. Show you these. You can aim them down or forwards, however you want, straight back, whatever. So kind of a cool thing. Let's crack open the back here. It does have the sun pad filler cushion, so you can flip this thing out and it just sticks right here and turns the whole back of the boat into a nice big sun pad. But it has this cool storage spot that's magnetic, and it holds it right up to the underside of the pad, and it doesn't end up squishing it down in between here. Really nice upgrade on this 230 is the stock hard tanks were gutted out of this and replaced with an 1,100 pound bag on either side of the engine. So that is the perfect setup for a 230 if you want to have the Mackin Surf Wave. 230 puts out a really nice wave. I remember we were still selling 230s, or still had the 230 available around the time the G23 came out. Some people actually preferred the Surf Wave behind the 230s because it tended to be a little bit longer. Definitely has a noticeably different shape to it than the G-Wave did, at least in the first generation. Let me reach down here and see if I can get the loop going to pop the engine. There we go. And there is our 6-liter. So really nice as well. A couple key options on the boat that you like to see on 230s. Obviously this year would be having NSS, and the second option that you'd like to see would be the 6-liter PCM engine with the 409 horsepower. The cowling looks a little different on this since it's a coastal edition, but will perform exactly the same, and service intervals and everything would be exactly the same as a standard 6-liter. So just looks a little different. And obviously you have the wash down and things of that nature if you're running it in salt, but again, has not been in salt. This has been fully serviced. It has 559 hours on the clock. And again, the ballast upgrade on either side of the engine is really nice to have. There is a chip down here below the seat. There's a little scuff on the underside here. Forgot one thing on the back that I'll show you before we jump through the rest of the interior is there's a small chip down kind of between this piping, and then on the very back there's another crack right here on the fiberglass on the top. But this is all pretty minor stuff. I mean, people hauling boards in and out of the boat, you see that on almost anything with, you know, this amount of time on the boat. Let's open up storage compartments wrapped around the back here. We've got one of our 2 batteries under the back corner. Those 2 seats are in great condition. Similar layout over here, another battery. There is a built-in charger back here. And then a spot for a drop-in cooler. The boat doesn't have the cooler, but honestly, this was never really a super exact fit. But I think it came with an igloo cooler, which are like, you know, $30 if somebody wants to put a cooler in there. I'm sure there's other coolers that fit as well. There's a couple spots of mildew on the top of these lean backs. I don't know why in that particular spot it's got mildew. Maybe the cover, my guess is the cover rested on those. But I'm not entirely sure. But that's a little bit of mildew there. Love seat looks really nice. We can crack this open and look underneath. We've got our amps. 2 Polk amps and just a bunch of storage space. There's a ton of room in here. Honestly, like, great spot for surfboards. As far as other stereo goes, the boat just has 6 interior speakers. They're Polks. And then behind the driver's seat's a 10-inch Polk subwoofer. Coming up to the dash, we've got a, I believe that's a Roswell. Yeah, Roswell mirror. Glove box, we can open that up. You see the Clarion head unit for the stereo, CD player, AM, FM, and I believe there's auxiliary in here as well. The phone hookup, which is right there. I don't have the battery on. I should have done that. Fun fact, this got a new ECM last year, but we've always serviced it when we recorded the hours on it before we swapped the ECM, because when you swap the ECM, it resets the hour meter. So right now it shows 62 hours on the clock, but we replaced it almost just shy of that 500 hour mark. So right now, I think it was like 598, 597. We're at like 559 right now. Manual hydro gate. On the link screen, you control all your speed control and ballast and rider presets and things of that nature. So that's really nice to have. The driver's seat's in good shape. There's a little bit of mildew here. My guess is they left that seat up like that a lot, and it just traps moisture down between it. But clean that up as best as we can. As you can see, there's a little bit of remnants of that, but maybe getting it out in the sun will help with that. Oh, and while I'm looking at the windshield, this is the chrome header, which is part of the full throttle package, which also gives you this really cool chrome steering wheel. And then making our way up to the bow, wraparound seating, like I said, everything looks really nice. Vinyl's all in good shape. And then to finish off that ballast upgrade, we have a piggybacked bow bag, which is tied in with the stock hard tank that remains in the belly of the boat. So when the belly tank is full, it overfills into this bag, and you're generally going to use that for wakeboarding. If you're going to fill up the rear bags all the way, you're really going to want to fill up the bow bag to kind of add a little bit more bow weight to the boat to get the bow down and make that weight clean up a little nicer. But for surfing, you're generally just going to slam the back and fill that belly tank, not so much the bag, but to each their own. I've rambled on a lot. Don't forget, it does come with the Z5 bimini, which mounts below the tower on this mount here, and it has a cargo rack on the roof for boards to clip into. There's also down-facing lighting in the speaker cans. But otherwise, I think that pretty much covers this 230. Beautiful boat, awesome condition. Hit us up at 317-845-9253 for more information, or swing by the shop to check out this beautiful 230. These things never last long when we get them in good shape, especially with this type of options package on it. So hit us up if you saw this video and you're looking for a really nice used Nautique.